Hello and welcome to another Steps of Sussex channel episode, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the new book that everyone's talking about, Finding Freedom by Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand. This is the book that has been serialised in part by various news publications. Now, this is the first time, of course, that I have chosen to talk about this book since it was actually being serialised. Now, there is one really big reason for that, and that is context. I like to read things in context. I don't think sound bites are very interesting or important without the proper context to have them in. I think context is all important. So, although I have read, many of the different excerpts that have been published by various publications, I have chosen not to speak about them. And, obviously the book is out today, the 11th of August 2020. So I've not had a chance to read this yet. I've kind of had a little skim read. I've been picking through. But in upcoming videos, I will be... In fact, I'm not really sure how I want to do this. I'm not sure whether I should just do a series of live chats, sort of chapter by chapter, because the book is split into, 24 chapters. So potentially I could do a different video recalling my thoughts on each individual chapter, or I could read it and record myself reacting to different parts of it as and when I come across something that I want to make a comment on or that I find particularly interesting. So I'm not quite sure entirely how I want to do it. Live chats or pre-recorded. As you know, I really like live chats, so it would be quite nice to be able to speak to people and discuss it as we're kind of going through it. Alicia says, how much did I spend on the book? Well, where I had it from, there is a story. So, I pre-ordered the book on Amazon back in March. And usually what happens with Amazon pre-orders that I've had previously is that they usually post them maybe a couple of days or the day before so that you get the book on the day of release. Now, with what's going on in the world right now, a lot of Amazon orders that I've had to wait absolutely ages. So this morning I get up and I check my Amazon orders, and the book had not even been dispatched. I was absolutely outraged. So I sent them a tweet and all kinds of different things about it. I sent them a message, I emailed them, all kinds of things. Anyway, I decided to cancel that pre-order this morning, and I said, look, I've got to go out and get the book from a proper traditional bookshop. This is what I do. This is talking about royals is what I do. This is what my channel is about. So I need the book. I really need it. And obviously, of course, I've been waiting for the past couple of weeks to actually get the book in proper context, not just, quotes or, basically written down sound bites, if you like, different excerpts from the book. So I went out and got it. Now, I did end up spending more money on it that way because it would have been cheaper on Amazon. In the UK, the price inside the book, inside the sleeve, is £20. So, £5 off, you do the math, I paid £15 for the book, which is a few pound more than what I would have paid on Amazon if I'd have let it go. I know there are other ways of doing it, Kindle, but I like a traditional book. I know you can listen to it in audio form. It is available in all different formats. Elizabeth Vagina says, I've been reading it since late last night. Apparently, it is a really good read. I mean, I actually watched an interview with Omid Scobie this morning on British TV, and he was interviewed by Andy Peters for Good Morning Britain. And Andy Peters did actually quiz him a lot on the authenticity of the book, where the sources came from, all that information. Basically, Omid is sticking to what they've said in the book, what we know already. They have spoken to sources close to Harry and Meghan, from what Omid is saying and what the couple are saying. Have not had any direct involvement, but they've spoken to sources close to, people they've worked with, close friends, and of course their own experience of going on royal tours. When asked, for example, Andy Peters asked Omid, would Meghan recognise you if you were standing in front of her? And his answer was, well, yes, she probably would, because of, you know, how closely I've worked on the royal tours and that kind of thing. Having a little quick skim read through, the way that it's written, in a rather personal and private way, does suggest that they have spoken to sources that are close to. I mean, I would definitely say that you could not get the sort of information that they and stories that they are able to tell in here without having rather sound information. And at the back of the book, they have spoken about sources, and they've said that they have corroborated each story with at least 2 sources. Of course, they're not going to say what sources they are, because they've said that, in fact, I think if you just allow me just a quick second to find it, they did actually say that people want to obviously, you know, try and protect their careers. Here we go. In many instances, we have granted sources anonymity to allow freedom to candidly provide direct quotes without their names being attributed, either due to the sensitivity of roles or to protect careers. Most individuals have spoken to them on what is known as on background, meaning the information from conversations can be used as guidance, but no quotes repeated. And in a few instances, they say that conversations have been strictly off the record. Now, we don't know who those people are in terms of strictly off record. Andy Peters also asked Omid, you know, in 3 years down the line, will it be revealed, for example, as it was with Andrew Morton and Diana, that in fact Omid had spoken directly to Harry and Meghan? And Omid, again, when pushed on this issue, he did say, you know, no, that's not going to happen. We haven't spoken to them directly. So that is what Omid is saying. Now, having not read the book, having not knowing exactly who the sources are, of course, we have to remember that this is one interpretation of events. Omid did say in the book, in the little bits I was reading at the back, that where sources conflict, where there have been 2 sides opposing, he's put both versions in. Another thing I would mention is a lot of the press is centering around Omid. It's pushing Omid as being the kind of main author. We know this is co-written. We do not know the level of how the book was split. Was it written 50-50? Was it just written, you know, with an uneven split? We don't know. But certainly in the publication, in the promotion of the book, Omid Scobie is taking centre stage. In fact, I haven't actually, to my knowledge, seen a television interview over the past few days with Carolyn. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I just haven't seen it. So if you have seen something where Carolyn is speaking, do let me know. But I think they are definitely pushing Omid as the main person writing this book. That is just how it is coming across. Omid is the one that I can see doing all of the promotion on the book. But like I say, let me know. Alicia says, I think this is the most accurate book. I trust Omid. I mean, again, different people are going to have different ideas, feelings and thoughts upon who they can trust, who they can't trust. When I read this, I am going to be looking at this book very, very objectively with what I've seen with my own eyes of royal watching on different events. But also, like I say, there are intimate moments in this book, private moments where I've just kind of skim read and I thought, oh, how on earth could he have known that unless he had spoken to someone who had that information directly from Harry and Meghan themselves? Because some of the stuff is like little conversations on boarding aeroplanes or whatever it might be. And you just think to yourself, well, how would they know that? How would he know that unless he'd spoken to someone who that story or those quotes had been conveyed to directly from the sources themselves, from the people who would know those private conversations or feelings. Some of it, again, you get the sense that it is from people that they've worked with or insiders as they have come to be known. But I don't think we're ever going to know from Omid or Carolyn who these sources directly are. And someone asked me today on social media, had I read any more of Lady Colin Campbell's book? And my answer was simply no. I got to page 2, I found a huge inaccuracy in Lady Colin Campbell's book, and it kind of put me off. So no, I haven't. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's there on the back burner, in case I'm a little light of reading on one occasion, but certainly, I spotted a major inaccuracy on page 2, and I just kind of couldn't get that out of my head, and I couldn't go beyond it. So we'll see how we do with this one. We'll see if this one fares any better. Let's just put it that way. Alicia says, yes, Carolyn did do one this morning. I haven't seen it, so if she has, then obviously I take that back. But all I've seen so far is Omid kind of pushing the book. Do let me know where you have seen Carolyn talking about the book, and I will endeavour to go and have a look and see if what they're saying is similar, is kind of, on message, that kind of thing. Lauren says, I mean, if he has spoken to Harry or Meghan, why not just say they have decided to leave the royal family? They're free to say as they like. I said many weeks ago that really, I mean, I remember saying, I kind of want to know one way or the other, how accurate is the book? And I think royal watchers, royal fans of Harry and Meghan, or just royalty in general, want to know the legitimacy of these books. What can you trust? What should we not trust? And it is very objective. And I said a few weeks ago that the only book that you are going to know is that person's version of events is if it actually comes from Harry and Meghan. I think we are a little bit away from ever having something directly from Harry and Meghan. That's not to say that it might not come in the future, but I certainly don't think so soon after stepping back from the royal family in terms of being working royals that they would come out with a book straight away. That's not to say that they may not do a book in the future about their life, maybe focusing in a few years' time on all of the work that they have been doing with their non-profit. I certainly think any future book from Harry and Meghan will be heavily focused on their charities, on the work, being humanitarians, making a difference. I think that is how that book would be played out in the future. But that's not to say that they, may not touch upon, the foundings of their relationship and their early royal life, marriage, having Archie, stepping back. But I don't think we'd ever get anything completely explosive from Harry and Meghan. Let's not forget that the royal family are Harry's family. And even though they may have had differences of opinions, being on different converging paths, as it was once put, different, definitely on different messages as well. That's not to say that he's going to rubbish on his family. So I think any future book that we do get from Harry and Meghan won't be that. But in the absence of that, it is very tricky to know which books to trust, which articles to trust. Like I say, I'm going to be reading it with a very open and objective view, and I haven't quite decided how I'm going to make the videos. So in the comments, again, let me know, do you think I should do a review chapter by chapter? Do you think I should just pre-record my thoughts as and when I'm reading it, wherever I might be where I'm reading it? Or do you think I should do it in live chat format so you can all kind of chat along? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how to do it. Lauren says, me too, I love Omid, he seems so nice and down to earth. I just don't like the word source. Yes, and it's very difficult without knowing directly who they are as to whether or not we can trust those sources or not. Elizabeth says, at least we can write positive reviews on Amazon. Yeah, I mean, the last time I checked the UK version of Amazon, in fact, I checked it this morning to cancel my order because they got it so wrong, it was actually rated as 2-star, and that's before the book's out. So Do you see what I mean about taking things in and out of context? Those people that have given it a 2-star rating haven't read the book because it was only out today. So they've been basing their ratings either on their own narratives, their own bias, or they've read the excerpts from the different publications and then put in a review, commentary on it. And it's very unhelpful to do that if you haven't read the whole thing. I wasn't aware that Omid Scobie and Carolyn were going to serialise the book. That took me by surprise a few weeks ago, and I really, really wish they hadn't done that, because like I say, taking things out of context, the press are going to pick up on the most juicy bits, the most salacious bits, and they're going to put their own spin on it. So almost the narrative has been spun before the actual book is out, and lots of people won't bother to get the book because they feel like they've known the whole story anyway. So I wish that they hadn't done it. I can see why they've done it. Someone else asked me today, I saw a comment on social media, who's getting the money? Are Harry and Meghan going to get the money from this book? No, the copyright is Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durran. So obviously they will have had a publishing deal with Day Street Books, and it is them. It is they who are going to receive the money and the funds from this book. So it makes sense financially to make a little bit of extra money on the side as an author by serialising your book in full or in part, as has been the case here, with different news publications. They have made the money. Any revenue from the book will go to Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durran. Again, I have no idea what the split is, but certainly it looks like the split has been pushed more in terms of Omid. I don't know. Maybe there's just more focus on Omid than Carolyn. I don't know why. But there we go. That's just how it is. But like I say, I would love to see an interview with Carolyn. So point me in the right direction, and I will take a peek. Teresa says, I think I will cancel my order from Amazon. It didn't get to me in time. So if, like me, you look in your order and it says, not dispatched yet, I would say just, you do what's right for you, but I cancelled and I went to a physical bookshop and I got it today. So there we go. Kizzy says, read and review. The problem with reading and reviewing is I'm going to have to stop every 2 minutes to write down my thoughts, or else I'm going to kind of, forget all the different points that I want to say. Alicia says, please read the book on live so you can follow. The problem with that, again, is copyright. Although I'm perfectly fine, I think, with kind of doing quotes, because a lot of all these quotes and things have been out there anyway for the past 2 weeks because of the serialization. But in terms of reading it like an audio book and commenting, I don't think that is going to cut it. So, but I have no issue with, quoting lines and paragraphs here and there, and then putting, obviously, my own opinion and thought in there. I don't think there's any problem with that. I don't think that takes away from the book as a complete work. Annie says, I trust Omid so more than anyone else. My book is on the way. Nancy says, I miss a tiara too, and fan flaps at the beginning. They may be going to make a comeback at some point. Oh, apparently Carolyn was on the Today Show yesterday. Okay. Okay, I will go and take a look. I will try and find it. Sharona thinks I should do chapter by chapter. Yeah. And also, I'm not a quick reader. I like to read and kind of digest and think about things. So, I'm not the sort of person that could read that in a night and then literally be here tomorrow going, blah, 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 whatever. So I think chapter by chapter is probably going to be the best way for me to do that. Madge says, I'm so glad that I finally caught you live. The book is on my Kindle and you are legally safe reading it to us. What happened to the tiara? I just kind of stopped wearing them. I don't know. There is no real reason. Probably because I'm broadcasting more from downstairs and all my tiaras are upstairs. So it's kind of easier for me just to jump on the way that it is, I suppose. By the way, we have 148 people watching live, so thank you so much if you're watching live, but I only have 36 thumbs ups. So, Do just click on the thumbs up if you're enjoying my little intro. So, the one thing I will read for you today, though, is... Let me just put my glasses on. I will read the inside sleeve so that we can... by the way, I'm getting my eyes tested tomorrow to get my own actual glasses. Anyway, so an international media frenzy has enveloped the Duke and Duchess of Sussex since the world learned of their budding romance in 2016. Well, that I cannot disagree with. I remember I was there back in 2016. In fact, I read a tweet somewhere where somebody was thanking somebody else for being there from the start. And I thought to myself, no, I've been there from the start. I was there in 2016 when I think it was one of the royal reporters, I think it was Camilla Tominey, who revealed that Harry was dating Meghan, and I remember doing my weekly live chats as I did back then in 2016, and I sat there. It's, by the way, that video is still there. You can still find that video where I first learned about Harry dating Meghan, and I made my first comments about it. So yes, I remember very, very well, clearly back in 2016, because I was the only one around talking about Harry and Meghan back in those days. Anyway, it says from their engagement, wedding, and the birth of their son Archie to their unprecedented decision to step back as senior royals and move to North America, the pair have made headlines with their every move. That is true. And while the Sussexes continue to be part of the daily news cycle, the true story of Harry and Meghan is one that few know. As members of the select group of reporters who cover the British royal family and their engagements, Omid and Carolyn have witnessed the Sussexes' lives as few outsiders can. With new information about Harry and Meghan's courtship, engagement, and the challenges they face within the institution of monarchy, Finding Freedom is a definitive biography of a truly modern royal couple. From details about Meghan's relationships with the Duchess of Cambridge, the Queen and her father, and the story of Harry's reported rift with brother Prince William, to the truth about the Duke and Duchess's desire to attain more freedom for their family and distance from the tabloids, Scobie and Durham take on the persistent untruths and overblown conspiracies to reveal the reality of Harry and Meghan's relationship with each other, the media and the royal family, relying on a unique access and written with the participation of those closest to the pair. Finding Freedom is an honest, up-close and disarming portrait of a confident, influential and forward-thinking couple who are unafraid to break with tradition, determined to create a new path away from the spotlight, and dedicated to building a humanitarian legacy that will make a profound difference to the world. There we go. And yeah, I mean, there's it's going to be an interesting read. Let's put it that way. It's definitely going to be a very, very, very interesting read. Meg says, I love the picture of Harry and Meghan on the back cover. I wish Omid had used that for the front cover, though Harry and Meghan look great in the front cover photo. Yes, they do. And it was from their 2018 trip. Yes. Beach Day says, so far the book is good. Red Amigran says, oh wow, the book is bigger than I thought. Sharona says, your hair was too long to wear tiaras. Well, it's been cut now, so there we go. Yeah, so I'm thinking most people are up for me reading kind of chapter by chapter and then coming on and maybe doing a live chat. So just, again, I don't think it matters if I read what the chapters are called. And then maybe you could leave me some comments as to what you think the chapter is going to be about from the chapter name. So there's a prologue and an introduction. The first chapter is called London Calling. Then we have When Harry Met Meghan. Then we have Courtship in the Wild, The World Gets Wind, A Prince's Stand, Culture Shock, Tropical Storms, Voicing Disapproval, Boom, Farewell Toronto, the Fab Four, A Problem Like Samantha. Now, what could that paragraph be about? A problem like Samantha. Answers on a postcard. Chapter 13, The Thomas Markle Situation. 14, Stand By Me. Presenting the Sussexes. Mum's the Word, Duchess Different, Brothers Divided, Nesting in Windsor, Welcoming Archie, Sussex Royal, Half In, Half Out, The Family Meeting, and finally 24, Finding Freedom. Then there is an author's note and the acknowledgements. So there we go. Chapter 23, The Family Meeting. Now, how he resisted the temptation to put hashtag Sandringham Summit is beyond me, because I would have gone for Sandringham Summit for that chapter, most definitely. Lauren Walker says, Mum's the Word, definitely about baby Archie. Yeah, I think so. Sharona says, London Calling, Meghan planning her trip to London, and she met Harry on that trip. Alicia says, I wish they hadn't given Samantha any publicity in the book. Well, they do, and I haven't got to that chapter, but when I do, we shall most definitely see. Oh, by the way, whilst I was in the bookshop as well, I did pick up another book, and it's not directly related, but it is something that I said I was going to do probably about a month ago, a month and a half ago, and true to my word, I am going to do it. So I said about a month and a half ago that, especially with what's going on in the world with regards to Black Lives Matter, I said I wanted to learn more about what it means, and I wanted to educate myself. So whilst I was browsing the history section, as I do, once I'd picked up my Finding Freedom, I went straight over to the Royal History section and the British History section, and I actually found this, and I'm going to show you because I think many of you may be really interested in this, as I was as well. And I've been looking for a really good book on this very topic for a good few weeks now, and I think I finally found one. So this one is called Black and British, A Forgotten History. The Observer said it's groundbreaking, and it's also connected to a BBC programme as well. It says now a BBC programme. Now, I haven't seen the programme, but I think the book will be really, really good. It's a winner of the Penn Hessel Tiltman Prize, so it's a prize winner, and it's by David Olusoga, and I hope I've said his name correctly. And I think one of the problems here in Britain that we face as a country is that we don't know terribly too much about how black history is actually part of everyone's history. I mean, I had a little bit of a skim read of this, and I think this is going to help fill in those gaps, because with the education system as it is, we don't often touch in education about what it means, about what actually has gone into the history and the formation of the country. So I want to know what it means, what it's like, and of course all of the history. So just in case you wanted again to follow along with books that I'm reading, kind of like an unofficial book club, that's what I'm going to be reading after Finding Freedom. So oh, how much is that book? I mean, this one I paid for in the bookstore. You probably can find it cheaper on Amazon. Oh, it hasn't got a price on it now. I think, £12.99. £12.99. But I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. But also, I was interested because it's very, very specific to Britain. And I think in the context of the country that I'm from, the nation that I'm from, I think it's going to be a really interesting and fascinating read that is going to open up my own horizons to things maybe that I haven't considered before. So I did say that I was going to educate myself, and then educating yourself is how I think things start, how you start to make a positive difference and a positive change, because I haven't felt like I've been able to say too much about the Black Lives Matter issue, other than, of course, that racism should end. I think everyone agrees in what the final outcome should be, but where people are struggling is how we get there. And I think one of the periods, the important periods that we're going through right now, is about learning, is about listening, because I don't think we can start to make those real meaningful changes that are going to last unless we understand the history of why we do things the way that we do things now, why we think the way that we do. So I know that my starting point is to educate myself where there have been gaps in education through schooling and whatever it might be, through the national curriculum. I think we have a responsibility ourselves, especially seeing as we're adults now, is to educate ourselves. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a book. I think it will be. I think it's going to be a book that is going to just open new ideas and increase understanding about other people's experiences, because people have different lived experiences, and your experience is not the same as mine, and vice versa. How's the weather in my area? Hot, humid. We've also had thunderstorms as well over the past few days. L. Goldman says, so glad I caught this live chat on Finding Freedom. Can't wait to begin reading my copy. Me too. And he says, thank you for wanting to know about Black history. Yeah. And, it's quite shocking to find out how little we do know. Growing up in the British education system, I bet, I haven't read it yet, but I bet the majority of this stuff probably, well, I know we haven't even touched on in the education system. So there are so many subjects that school children tackle nowadays that there isn't, you can't fit everything in, but there are, I'm sure, so many things that could be integrated into the curriculum in different ways. And yeah, I think it's knowing about those, it's recognising that you've got gaps in your own knowledge and then trying to fill them in. And until you try to fill them in, you're not even going to know where they are. There'll probably be things that I do know, and there'll be probably lots of things that I don't know, but it's making the effort to understand and to educate yourself, because that's the only way, I think, at this point, that we're ever going to make a difference, is if everybody's on board, everybody is trying to reach that end point, and that we can get some kind of consensus about how we get there, I think is what it's all about. What's the title of the book? The title of the book, I'll hold it up, is Black and British, A Forgotten History. There we go. And it is by David Olusoga. Do you want me to in fact, why don't I type it in? I'll also put it in the description as well once I've gone off live. So it's David Olusoga, Black and British, sorry. A Forgotten History. And just touching on the same kind of subject, I did know, I read one of those sound bites today from the Finding Freedom about, do you remember Princess Michael of Kent wore the what was described as a blackamoor brooch, and at the time Princess Michael of Kent did, after she was pulled up on it because she was seen wearing it in the car being driven to the Queen's annual Christmas event at Buckingham Palace, and she apologised for wearing it. And there was lots of talk at the time about how maybe perhaps Meghan had been offended by the wearing of that brooch. And I read a soundbite today saying that actually it contains somewhere within this book, I haven't got to it yet, that Meghan had at least raised an eyebrow at the wearing of that brooch. Elizabeth Regina says, thank you. You are more than welcome. Alicia Anderson says, I dislike Princess Michael of Kent. What she did was despicable. I mean, you definitely would not, I wouldn't have worn that on any occasion, yet alone, out in public where you could be seen wearing it, and in particular in the presence, you know, of someone or just anybody. I mean, it's just, it wasn't the right thing to be wearing. It should be in a museum. I mean, that's, if you ask me where those sorts of things should be, they should be in a museum, displayed with correct context. You know, just the facts. You know, these are the facts around that sort of artifact, and I'm going to call it an artifact because it happened. That is, you know, that was one of the things that was created, that people used to wear. It has a historical context, and that is how it should be displayed and, you know, shown as such, so that people can learn. So that, again, so that people can learn about the past. Alicia says Lady C did a live about the brooch. I haven't watched any of her videos. Bev says I wanted to give you a yellow pamphlet, but there's no such emoji. Yeah, as soon as we get more channel members, YouTube allow you to add more emojis. So I need to get some more people becoming channel members. So if you are already a channel member, thank you so much. But as soon as I get more, it unlocks more features in terms of adding emojis. That's the way it works, unfortunately. So as soon as I'm able to, I will update the emojis. You continue, it's great you are educating yourself. Yes. Betsy says it revealed a lack of sensitivity on her part. Yes. Oh, by the way, thank you as well to all the patrons as well who support me on Patreon. It makes all the difference, so thank you. You may have noticed that on my other channel, Royal Reviewer, I have rebranded. I've, you know, updated the logos and the banners and all the good stuff. And those changes are coming here too on Steps of Sussex. But there's so much for me to change with all the different channels. I'm starting with Royal Reviewer channel, and then I'm working my way through all my different social medias. There will be new social medias as well coming up. So look out for those. I will, of course, publicise them as and when they come up. So I'm hoping that you're liking the new logos over on Royal Reviewer, because that's the kind of style that I'll be going for here as well. Also, let me know, do you think this channel needs a name change? I don't know. I mean, I just came up with Steps of Sussex way back when because I felt it was the most appropriate kind of name. It's following in the steps of Harry and Meghan. So let me know if you think the channel may need a bit of a refresh with a name change. I don't know. If you've got any really good suggestions, leave a comment, and I will, of course, take a look at them, and I will consider everything. Alicia says the name is perfect. Thank you. So there we go. So all that's left for me to do now is to go away and read the book. And I think, let me just see how long the first chapter is, because that will give you an indication of when I shall be back with my next video. So it's very important to subscribe, to hit the notification bell, so that you know whenever I upload a new video, because I literally could be popping up at any moment to make a video. So the first one is called London Calling, and it's from page 13 until 23. So I imagine I'll probably get, I mean, it may even be that I do a couple of chapters and review them, maybe a couple of chapters by couple of chapters, maybe, or for the bigger chapters, maybe just do one video. Anyway, I will be back probably tomorrow with my first chapter review. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching. I've probably been on longer than what I thought I was going to. I thought I'd just come on and do a really quick video just saying, hey, I've got the book. I'm going to be reading it. I'm going to be updating with some videos. Lauren says maybe do a poll on the name, maybe. So yeah, I mean, if people think the name is good, I have no problem in keeping the name. That is fine by me as well. So there we go. Right, I'm going to go now and leave you all to do whatever it is that you were doing before. I've still got some more updating to do on different things. So if you've enjoyed this video, if you found it useful, if you're going to look forward to some really objective looking, some, you know, some just trying to be real, just trying to keep everything real with it. You know, I will be as objective as I most possibly can with the book. And I will use everything that I know about the royal family, about Harry and Meghan, to try and make sense of what is contained within the book. So, from me in Shropshire, mwah to you all and goodbye.